Alright, YouTube folks, feel free to skip ahead about a minute or so. I just booted up the stream, and I'm going to give folks just a minute to get in here before I get started with deck tech. Morning, M. Kelly. Yeah, Ant is a donation deck. It's not usually my jam. But I am not above being bribed. Oh, excellent. I'm happy that I'm like, now that it's the summer, I have chances to do streams during the day so that like I can actually interact with my fans on the other side of the world. That's really nice. It's something that doesn't get to happen a lot during the school year, just kind of due to the nature of my working. All right, so good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. My name's Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University. Normally we play like control and prison decks on this channel, but today we're doing a combo deck for a change. This is a donation deck list, and we will be playing with Caleb Scher's Ant deck. So Ant stands for Ad Nauseam Tendrils. You know, the idea being that you cast Ad Nauseam to draw the majority of your deck, and then eventually kill your opponent with a Tendrils of Agony, which is a card with Storm, which means for every card cast before it, you get to copy the spell. So you are looking to cast 9 spells, followed by a Tendrils of Agony in order to kill your opponent. There are 2 primary ways to go about this. Way 1 is use Ad Nauseam, draw most of your deck, and Tendrils your opponent out. Way 2 is sort of like using a bunch of rituals, tutor for a Past in Flame, cast all the rituals again, and then use the Infernal Tutor to go and get the Tendrils. In game 1, 95% of the time, you just kill with Tendrils. Caleb's list is a little unique in that there is a main deck Empty the Warrens. So Empty the Warrens is a different sort of strategy. For an Empty the Warrens kill, you actually sometimes can just do something like, you know, turn 1, Gataxian Probe, Petal, Dark Red, Empty, or something like as simple as that, and then that's it. Like, your opponent just dies to a bunch of goblins. Basic Lanes, this is the last donation deck list in the queue. So after that, we'll be going back to D&T. I want to play some red-white taxes. That'll probably happen either today or tomorrow. So this is the last one in the queue currently, but I wanted to make sure I emptied the queue before I got to Latin Academy, because then my time is all sorts of weird. There are advantages and disadvantages to this Empty the Warrens. Empty the queue or empty the Warrens? We can do both. So the Empty the Warrens is very good against some decks like Red Prison that threaten multiple different lock pieces attacking from different angles, and sometimes you can just like do a reasonably sized empty and beat your opponent without having to like do all of the required setup. One of the issues with Empty, though, is that it costs 4 mana. So when you reveal that off of your Ad Nauseam and you lose 4 life for it, it does sting a little bit. It's also a card that can kind of clunk up your hand if you're trying to get Hellbent for Infernal Tutor reasons, because Infernal Tutor is only Demonic Tutor if you are Hellbent. That is, if you have no cards in your hand. So, a couple of quirks about this deck list. This deck list is playing 14 lands. 14 to 15 is kind of the norm. And in this deck list has a Reign of Filth. This might be one that a lot of you don't know. So this is for 1 black, and until the end of turn, lands you control gain sacrifice this land, add black to your mana pool. So why is this good? In the late game, this is an absurdly powerful ritual. Like, if things have slowed down, you have 5 lands, and you're going for it, this can produce 5 mana. But secretly, this has a second purpose. Cabal Ritual is a card that cares about Threshold. So normally, Cabal Ritual just effectively adds 1 to your mana pool. So Dark Ritual is a net +2, Cabal Ritual is a net +1, unless you have Threshold, in which case you produce 5 mana. So you spend 2 mana to produce 5 mana, so it's a net 3. So Dark Ritual is net 2, Cabal Ritual is net 3. But a lot of times in the early game, like, you just don't have 7 cards in graveyard. Like, even if you've, like, fetched, played a Petal, played a cantrip or 2, you might only be sitting on, like, 5 cards in graveyard when you want to cast your first Cabal Ritual. So what Reign of Filth does is allows you to go ham with Cabal Ritual. Like, you can go Reign of Filth, sack my 2 lands, and that puts 3 cards into the graveyard for Cabal Ritual purposes while already putting you ahead 1 mana. Like, if you do that with 3 lands instead, that's 4 cards in graveyard and 3 mana. So Reign of Filth is an interesting card. Yes. So, like, this deck would like to win on, like, turn 2 every game. It's not always possible, but that's kind of, like, the turn where it happens. Usually you need, like, 1 to 2 turns of setup, and then you kill. Turn 1 kills are possible. I even go so far as to say common. When you have a good opener, you can just go a huge proportion of the time. And then after, like, brainstorming or pondering or, like, disrupting your opponent with a discard spell, it's very likely you go off. If you don't do anything to interact with Storm, you should expect to be dead on turn 3 pretty much every time. Again, you can draw some clunkers, and, like, sometimes you run into issues where you can't quite get Hellbent for Infernal Tutor due to having too many lands. But the deck's pretty darn consistent. And very annoying because it's got, like, the whole Cataxian Probe Cabal Therapy combo, which is just cheating. One other note about Infernal Tutor for people not common, or, like, not used to playing this deck. So Infernal Tutor requires you to be Hellbent in order to go off and, like, just, like, treat it as a normal tutor. You can use Lion's Eye Diamond in response to Infernal Tutor. So you play Infernal Tutor, hold priority, crack Lion's Eye Diamond, and then you get some mana, and you also get to empty your hand. So you don't always have to naturally empty your hand with Infernal Tutor. Okay, and the person who donated for this stream asked that I talk a little bit about sideboarding because they were having trouble. Now, I'm no Storm expert, but I'll pass on what I know. Number 1, the biggest thing I think people do wrong when they sideboard with Storm is they sideboard too many cards. Like, you are an engine deck. You require a good mix of mana and, like, cantrips to stick it all together and your finisher cards. And if you bring in too many sideboard cards, a lot of times you just end up clunky, for lack of a better word. Like, let's say you're going to play against something like Death and Taxes. You could go, oh, I want to go fast with Chrome Mox, but I also want to have answers for Thalia. And I guess, like, Recall could go and bounce Revoker, and Echoing Truth could get their Rest in Peace, and Chain of Vapor gets all of that. But if you went and boarded in 11 cards for a matchup like that, like, what are you doing to the core of your deck? So you need to think about what your role is when you want to sideboard. So, like, just kind of looking at these cards. Chromox is to go fast. So you can play Chromox when you need to race another combo deck. And so, again, it's like a generic combo deck. You might do something like bring in a Therapy and bring in the 3 Chromox and trim some of your main deck stuff. And then when you're attacking various fair decks, you have to decide which pieces of hate you want to beat. Like, are you looking to beat just small bears? If so, Fatal Push is great. Do you need to hit multiple different types of cards? Then Chain of Vapor is very good. Is your opponent a Chalice deck where Chain of Vapor is a liability at a converted mana cost of 1? Well, then things like Hurkyl's Recall and Echoing Truth become better. Like, even though all of these cards are frequently good in the same matchups, you kind of have to choose when you want to play each one of these, and you're rarely going to be bringing in a ton of these. Surgical's primarily for like your other unfair decks, so that you can like Cabal Therapy and duress away their stuff and then extract it. And you have a second Tendrils here for the decks where you might not be able to go off in one turn reasonably, and you need to go off twice. I haven't played enough Ant recently to tell you which decks those are for sure, but I imagine that if it's like before, it's like Check Pile is going to be the sort of deck where you would board in that other Tendrils, and like you can baby Tendrils them one time and then finish them off with like emptier Tendrils a second time. I'm a little curious why the donor chose you to stream this when Caleb shares streaming every day and Legacy every other day. So, I mean, I obviously don't know the answer to that question. I am obviously not a primary pilot of this deck, and the person who is learning the deck might enjoy the perspective from someone else who isn't a therapy, like, a therapy god and an ant master, so that, like, they can watch other people thinking through the same sorts of things that they are thinking about. Like, if you watch someone who knows what they're doing with this deck, they're like, okay, yep, we've got it here. And they don't do a lot of talking about some of the intricacies at all times. So maybe that's what the donor is looking for. Again, I don't know for sure. I've played a little bit of Ant, and on my car rides to various tournaments, we used to pass the time by goldfishing Ant. So I kind of know what I'm doing. It's not like I'm just picking this deck up for the first time or anything like that. I've played more game ones than sideboarded games by a considerable margin, but I've talked through sideboarding with some people in the past, so we'll see how I do. There's a really good article by, I think it was either Frank Karsten or Karsten Cotter. It was one of those two, that talked about like how to conceptualize like what the cards in your deck do. It's probably from like 4 years ago now, where like when you're thinking about your sideboarding and what you want to do, like your deck kind of fits into like 3 or 4 categories, right? So you have your mana, you have your cantrips, you have your disruptions, and then you have sort of like your finishers. And when you're sideboarding, you need to go and think about like which one of these categories can I afford to cut. If this is a slow matchup where like you expect the game to go very late, you can trim on some of the mana. If this is a matchup where you're worried about stuff sticking to the board, then you trim on, Brain of Filth goes here, then you trim on some of the discard for some of these sorts of things. Food for thought. All right, constructed tournament, leagues, Storm. Buckle up, chat. Could be a bumpy ride. I haven't ever played a league with Ant on Moto. I spent like 5 minutes goldfishing by myself to make sure like I knew how all the cards worked. But it was super awkward to goldfish because in the solitaire mode, if you want to target someone with discard, you have to target yourself. So that was really awkward. Alright, so my opponent plays Delver. What does this hand do? this hand goes for an early ad nauseum and hopes to resolve it. So I'd go like turn. So I'd go land, Lotus Petal, Cabal Ritual, 3 mana, LED. So I don't love this hand. This Dark Petition is essentially a dead card. I don't have enough mana to get to ad nauseum immediately. This is a mulligan. Like, this is so close to being right. Like, if I could do a turn 1 or turn 2 ad nauseum, I'd absolutely keep this. But we're maybe not even getting to a turn 3 ad nauseum, right? So if I draw land, then I have 3 mana, 4 mana, 5 mana, ad nauseum. And I could use, like, LED to play for days, but if my opponent has, like, a hard counter like Force, then I'm just absolutely boned. I have no manipulation to, like, find another piece either. I'm going to mulligan this one. Good God. This is bad. Can I rely on Brainstorm to fix this hand? If I Brainstorm and put back both Past in Flames and empty the Warrens, and I get to shuffle them away, this is acceptable. Ugh. This is terrible. Winning on 5 against Delver would be really hard, though. So I'm going to keep. I'm going to bottom that. And just pass. I don't want to crack this Delta to Cabal Therapy turn 1. Because I really want to spike a land. That's fine. I really want to spike a land and shuffle away these 2 cards. So, Fenskinator, I agree that, like, generically speaking, I can get better 5-card hands. But I don't know that I can win the resource war. After a counter spell, if I go to 5. Yeah, results indicate that he is a Grixis Delver player. I probably have to Brainstorm this turn and pray. And I'm going to get Island, I think. Because if I whiff on a land, I'm in super bad shape anyway. And if my opponent has Wasteland and I get Sea, I'll probably just die. Fair. Okay, can I do anything here? Can Lotus Petal... Maybe. So I can Lotus Petal, cast... No, I can, like, LED, LED, Lotus Petal, cast Cabal Ritual, hold priority, crack for red and black. That'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That'll be 8 cards in graveyard. That'll end up producing 5, 8, 11 mana, Past in Flames. I can empty for some number. So I can empty for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can produce a lot of goblins. And I probably need to do so. Because I'm going to take 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright, let's see what happens. 5 for flashback. Yeah. Yeah, Arkin, I guess I could have done that. Again, I am 100% not a Storm Master. Oh, I don't think they have Force. I don't think they have Daze. So what do I care about? I guess, like, a Bolt going to my Dome would be annoying. Well, so like if I crack for blue and I brainstorm, It's the same storm count as Cabal Therapy unless I hit something that I can cast. So I have 16 goblins. My opponent has 1, 2, 3, 4. Soon to be 5 blockers, so I can hit them for 11 the first time. We'll trade a whole bunch of resources. Okay. So let's say I attack him. So my opponent, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My opponent blocks 5. So these are dead. And I hit for 11. I then trade with these 4 creatures. My opponent will have 2 blockers the following turn. So this is probably fine to just go in. Because I lose 5. Then I have 11 guys. I lose 2 per attack. Alright, so I hit for 11 this turn. Then I go down to 11 goblins, and then I hit for 9. Yeah, alright. We fight. There is a world where my opponent doesn't block with the young pyromancer tokens, or sorry, with the actual young pyromancers, and tries to draw cantrips in order to, like, create more blockers for the following turn. But I don't know if that works, because that really only works if they, like, chain together multiple cantrips. And I know that 2 of their remaining cards are Wasteland and True Name. So I have 13 goblins remaining, and they need to, like, probably get a cantrip string that also involves Gitaxian probes. Ooh, Forkbolt is really good. Like, that effectively answers 4 goblins. That's an insane draw. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I have too many goblins for them. So I have 11. Yay! Woo! Yes, Goblin Tribal for the win. Oh, and Arkin, I started watching the league you did with EW Landon. That was super interesting. I'm a match or 2 in, and I'm gonna finish watching the rest probably over lunch. Good stuff. I was enjoying that. Master Her, I think we had them at -1, so I think we had like 1 extra goblin. So I think this is a matchup where I don't need to sideboard very many cards. I want the ability to take some pressure off of the board. So I'm definitely going to board in my Fatal Pushes. but otherwise, I think that I just kind of have to try to wiggle through. I don't think I love Reign of Filth here, because if Reign of Filth resolves and I start going for it, and my stuff, then like my business spell gets countered, I am probably just dead. So I'll probably get rid of Reign of Filth. And then trim one other card. How do I feel about the empty? The empty math can get a little bit weird. And like my opponent has Young Pyromancer as well as like Deathrite Shaman that can kind of make this annoying. So I could see boarding empty out here. But just having it in the deck as a safety net might be better than just like one other random card. Cut. Okay, yeah. I can see cutting Adnos. That's not the best when your life total is put under a lot of pressure. Alright. So what am I doing here? I get a peak, I get to cantrip. I have this empty, which I really don't want, but I have Infernal Tutor and LED. This is already a mulligan to 6. I think it's fine. Like, I would love this as a 6-card hand, and, like, maybe we do a small empty at some point, and then try to go off with, like, Infernal Tutor LED following afterwards. So I'll keep this. I don't think I can plan to go Turbo versus Delver anyway. Oh yeah, Ark and I am 100% on the Let's Ban Gataxian Probe bandwagon. Fuck. Okay. The good news is my opponent doesn't have any pressure, so I have time. Oh wow, is my opponent going to, like, actually use a counterspell on this preordain? Because I am ecstatic if that is the case. Deal. Deal, 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 deal. I think I'm going to try to feed my opponent this Preordain to their days. And then punish them for not playing that Wasteland. Deal. I'm going to play this nice and patiently. My opponent is presenting me with no pressure, and I'd rather not, like, fetch an Underground Sea for this Flooded Strand. Perfect. That's awkward. So they can't actually cast these therapies. It's a shame we have the empty in hand. If we didn't have the empty in hand, I could just, like, go off here, right? Because I could go, like, crack this. Or no, I wouldn't have Threshold. I'd still have 5. This would be 6. Yeah, I'm real close. No, I boarded Adnaw's out. So I can duress, take my opponent's force, crack, Cabal Writ, LED. I can't really do anything with the Past in Flames, though. How many goblins can I make? None. Okay. None safely. Or no, I guess I could Cabal Ritual. No, I wouldn't have Threshold. So I think I'm going to duress my opponent now, take their force. I'll go ahead and brainstorm to see if I can get there right now, which it looks like I might be able to do. So I can put back empty and brainstorm. Crack my land. Gataxian Probe, Lotus Petal, Cabal Ritual, Infernal Tutor, hold priority, crack LED, have 8 mana. 8 mana Past in Flames down to 3 mana Cabal Ritual up to 8 mana. Yeah, I think this gets there. Brainstorm is actually kind of inconvenient. Or no, I guess the brainstorm doesn't matter. So 2, 5, 3, 6. Oh, maybe I don't get here. Did I miss subtracting for tutor? So 2, 5, 8, 6, Past in Flames. Yep. Okay, this doesn't get here right now. So I just like blew a mana here for no reason. Hmm. Oh no, I can just goblins, right? Yeah. So I go 2 mana, 5 mana, LED. Yeah, I just goblins. It's fine. Well, my opponent doesn't even have like mana to do things, right? Like they have no plays currently other than Wasteland this. So like they probably have Marsh Casualties, but not mana to do it. Luxac, if I had 2 leftover mana, that sounds like a great play that I didn't do. Again, 100% not a Storm Master. Not even a Storm Prodigy. Alright, so it was good that we kept the empty in for that matchup. But kind of bad that we drew it naturally. Oh yeah, like, Ant is super, super fun. It takes a lot of mental energy to play before you understand how everything works at an intuitive level. And what I mean by that is, like, you have all the math internalized. Like, I don't have all the math internalized for this deck like I do for Death and Taxes. So, like, I have to actually think about my decisions. Which I don't normally have to do a lot with D&T. Yes, I am a Storm Padawan. I am not a master. I have been denied a seat on the Jedi Council. Are we gonna fail matchmaking again? Yeah, Red Panda, that's especially true online, where you can't get slow play warnings. Alright. I don't know what my opponent is playing. My hand is highly disruptive. I get 2 duresses to plow the way. I have a cantrip. If I get to Threshold, Cabal Ritual goes directly into Ad Nauseam itself. I think I'm fine with keeping this hand. Hmm. So I go 3, 4, not quite Ad Nauseam. But double duress should be pretty insane. Alright, so opponent is Sneak and Show. Thought they were going to be Ant, and they were just playing out a Petal. I think I want to get a little greedy and preordain, try to find a land, so I can duress them and then go off the following turn. So next turn I could go 3 mana, 4 mana, LED, LED, cast Infernal Tutor, go down to 2 mana, go up to 8 mana, Past in Flames, go down to 3 mana, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, This is not what I was going for, but it should work. Summer's going well. We'll see whether or not this turn goes okay. I don't care unless my opponent goes, like, Grizzlebrand Emrakul. Because I've still got a kill. I can still kill them from 20. Uh-oh. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. So now I'm in trouble if they have a piece of counter magic for the Dark Ritual and pull a trigger on the Dark Ritual. Well, it's just a matter of how many counterspells he drew and how he chooses to use them. I know he does not have Emrakul the Aeon's Torn in hand. He also probably doesn't have that many lands if he only discarded 2 lands. I can Duress, but if he has a second copy of Grizzlebrand, that's super bad. So I think I just, like, jam the Dark Ritual. Alright, so I can go Dark Ritual up to 2 mana. Like, sorry, I can Dark Ritual to 3 mana, go down to 2 mana, Duress my opponent. That'll be 3... that's only... it's only going to be 5 cards in Graveyard. So I'd also need to Reign of Filth. Okay. So I go Dark Ritual Duress. Then I Reign of Filth. So then that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards in Graveyard. Go up to 5 mana, and then I can continue doing my thing. If this gets countered, I'm donezo. Okay. Alright, so this should get Emrakul, 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 and I'll die. Okay. So I don't know that it's really worth trying to fight their combo once it resolves. I kind of think it's worth it to, like, either try to go faster and disrupt them, or attack their hand via discard. I think that's going to be the angle of attack that I'll take. So again, against counterspells, I don't like Rain of Filth. Yeah, Brightling is awesome killing form. Everyone I know who has tested that has just absolutely fallen in love with it. Is it reasonable to, like, cut Dark Petition? I'm trying to go fast, and this is kind of a mid to slow card. And then I think I'll, like, cut one cantrip. Yeah, everyone who hasn't played it or, like, played against it goes, like, is that really playable? And then you play it and they're like, oh my god, I get it now. So my hand currently does nothing, but this brainstorm can very much change that. Like, if this brainstorm hits, say, an ad nauseum, I just go, like, dark red, ad naus, go. I think I'm going to keep this and brainstorm turn 1 with the potential to just go for it, or if nothing else, I shuffle away the tendrils on my turn 2 with my second fetch land. I'm going to get an island with this one in case my opponent Blood Moons. I mean, I'm pretty happy with the set of abilities that Brightling has. Alright, so now I need a business spell to go off, but I might just get, like, Island Show of Teld right here, or something like that. If I get the ability to go for it, I might not go for it until I can use a counterspell. Or not a counterspell, like, use a piece of discard to check for a counterspell. Robinson, you're probably right. Elves would probably be very acceptable right now. So I can definitely go for it here, but I think I'm going to wait. My opponent's currently discarding. That's got to favor me. So, like, I 100% can go for a kill right here, but I think I want to, like, peek for Force of Will before I do so. Like, opponent doesn't have any pressure. They don't have an island. They can't cantrip. They can't cast any natural spells. So I think this favors me. Okay. How does that math work? Awkward. Yeah, it's post board. So I think I'm just going to cast an Infernal Tutor here. I think this is good enough to get a counterspell. Oh, no, it is not. And I'm just going to play out one LED just so I don't have to discard. Do I feel safe going for it now? In order to beat me, they have to have second Force of Will, and I just 100% win if they don't. My gut says just wait. My gut tells me don't go for it, Phil. It's stupid to go for it. Yeah, like, it's a required play, right? That's awkward. So I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7. Can I just tendrils? Alright, so I can Infernal Tutor for Dark Ritual. So that's Storm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I can do 18. If my opponent casts one spell, if my opponent has a Force of Will, they die. And they just, like, Force of Will some ritual. I think I just, like, accept doing 18. Because it shuts off Ancient Tomb and shuts off fetch lands? Is that crazy? That's probably crazy. I'll just, like, wait till I get a cantrip. Well, often not using the tutor doesn't, like, put my opponent at dead or anywhere close to dead. That's good. I can probably just go off naturally. Like, with tendrils now. So which card don't I want? I probably just don't want a Chrome Mox. No Force of Will. So I can just, like, tendrils my opponent now and then tendrils them again. Oh no, I didn't goof. Yeah, but I kind of want to tendrils him twice. Like, there's nothing that punishes me for it, right? Like, I just go down to 4 mana, tendrils him, Infernal Tutor, Past in Flames, tendrils him a second time. But that's probably unnecessary. Alright, chat wants me to do it, so we'll do it. Actually, I don't want to do the math to make sure I have enough mana. So let's just Past in Flames. Sure, but when my opponent's 100% dead, it doesn't really matter what I do, right? This hand has 3 different cantrips, so I'll go ahead and keep it. We can probably win with an early ad nauseum if my opponent doesn't just, like, destroy me. Yes, I believe you can, Hippity Long Ears. I don't think I'm going to play around Blood Moon. I don't think my opponent has that in. I am in for all of this. So next turn I can go land, 2 mana, 3, 4 mana, 5 mana. Next turn I could just attempt an ad nauseum, but I think I'd rather not do that. I kind of want to use this Lotus Petal and just duress them right now to make sure I don't die, and slow the pace of the game down a little bit. What did my opponent do with their preordained? So they don't know their next card. So I think I'll just take the force, leave them with the sneak attack. And then go for it next. No, I can't go for it next turn anymore. Yeah, I'm still going to take the force. Ooh. Do I go off? So put back Island, Brainstorm. So put back these 2, and then I go Dark Writ, land Dark Writ, that's 3 mana. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it's only 6 cards in graveyard. Unfortunate. But I do get to go for it next turn. Okay, no, I guess I could go now. If I put back Island LED, then I go land, imprint, Chrome Mox, Dark Writ, Cabal Writ, go. I won't have anything floating when I start my ad nause, but an ad nause from 19 is probably pretty good. Let me just confirm. 3, 4, 5. Yep. All right. Uh-oh. Found a counterspell in there, one card. Okay. That was an insane ponder. Rough. Yeah, natural order. Your comments just caught up to me. Yeah, I that was a very, very good ponder, right? Like that ponder found them like a piece of disruption that was not force of will, because force of will wouldn't have worked because they didn't have a blue card, right? After they cast the ponder. So they had to find like fluster or spell pierce to beat me. And they also happened to find a show and tell so that they could dance around their like mana light situation. So D&T 24, to like break down the difference between Tess and Ant. Ant tends to go a little bit bigger with its mana, which means it's a little slower. So when you play Cabal Ritual, that's a mid-game card by like Legacy combo standards, right? So Ant runs this, and Ant's primary engine is actually Past in Flames. That's how it gets most of its wins, is it plays a bunch of tutors in Cabal Ritual, and that's a ton of mana. So you Past in Flames, you do all those again, and then you tutor for Tendrils. Whereas Tess, you tend to go all in on Empty the Warrens more often, and you're a better Ad Nauseam deck because your rituals are cheaper. And Tess has red rituals. It has Rite of Flame rather than Cabal Ritual. So Ant is a touch slower and relies more heavily on the graveyard, whereas Tess is a touch faster, abuses its life total more, and relies on goblin tokens for the kill more. All right, folks, I'm going to grab a drink of water real quick, and then we'll go into round 3. Okay. While I was moving around, I thought of another line that I could have taken that game. I don't know if it's better, but with my duress or my therapy, whatever it was it actually better to take the ponder rather than the force of will? Because my opponent's hand was, I think, like sneak attack, Emrakul, ponder, force, lands, something like that. So if I take the ponder, they don't have another blue card for force, and I don't give them the opportunity to cantrip into anything. So then they have to hit a blue card in order to force, and they can't actually play anything else on their turn. What's the number of blue cards in Sneak and Show? I'm curious enough that I want to like look this up real quick. I want to like know what the odds are. So just taking the first list I see, assuming they're running Cunning Wish or Intuition. Looks like about 26. So it's, if I take the force, then they have to ponder into Flusterstorm or Pierce. So that's probably maximum of 6 outs and 1 draw per turn plus 4 looks for it. So they have 6 outs and they have 5 chances to draw one, versus having 26-ish outs, but 1 chance to draw it. On the random list that I pulled up, it was 2 Flusters, 1 Spell Pierce in the main deck, 1 extra Fluster in the board, so it had 4. But this list also runs Cunning Wish and Intuition, and I'd rather just like run one or the other so that I can just play another counterspell. It's sort of an interesting train of thought. I think what I did is probably right, but I don't know. I think I'm supposed to take the force and just like make them have it. Not taking the force has some high upside, but is like super risky, and I just like die if I'm wrong. About 26 blue cards. Okay, yeah, my gut indication, my gut feeling was that it was about the same math-wise. I'm glad that more or less checks out. Thank you for that, NW Robinson. I can't really use my mental power to do that kind of math right now, while also entertaining the stream. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University. Today we're playing with Ant, that is Ad Nauseam Tendrils, a combo deck for one of the first times on stream. What other combo decks have I played? I guess I played Dark Depths once. We're mostly a control stream. Hmm. Alright. No data on my opponent. I have a lot of mana. I have a lot of mana. I'm gonna keep this. I get to, like, see what's going on. I get to, like, duress my opponent. There's also some chance that I just, like... Fuck. They're goblins with Thalia. But they can't cast the Thalia yet, so they have turn 3 Thalia. I have 3 turns. Oh, no, I don't. I get to duress its fucking Vial. I'm the bad guy. Fuck. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, well, we started this game at 13 life. Oh, okay. Hey, N.W. Robinson, and welcome. Ha! Infernal Tutor. We're good. Wait, can I just do it now? I think I can do it now, right? Lotus Petal, Dark Writ, Cabal Writ, Draw, Infernal Tutor, LED. Yeah, I've got to be able to do this now. I don't know if I'm past Inflamesing or Goblinsing or what, but, like, I've got to be able to do something now. So this is 8. I can just get a second Infernal Tutor, go to 9, and then get Tendrils and go to Lethal. So this is 7, 8, 9, Tendrils. Yep, that easy. I have Control held, so I don't know why it did not let me hold priority. That's terrifying. I have plenty for Past in Flames. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, so I can just go crack my pedal, 4 mana, Past in Flames, crack this, Writ, Tutor, Tendrils. Yeah. So we're playing against goblins with Thalia. So I probably don't want Duress. So goblins is likely to have what for hate? They've got Thalias. They probably have surgicals. Maybe a mind break. Maybe chalice. Like, there's a lot. Yeah, they have Badlands. I think on the draw, I probably want to have these. On the play, I might just ignore whatever hate they have and, like, just, like, Chromox go. I also may adjust my sideboarding a little bit depending on what they do. This hand is not overly exciting, but fine. And my opponent's mulliganed. That's a recipe for a keep. About the worst thing that can happen is my opponent is playing the version that has Chromox, and they like Chromox and play a turn 1 Thalia. That'd be pretty devastating with my current hand. Alright, so Thoughtseize should take my Infernal Tutor in all likelihood. Let's get some information about what's happening before I take any other play. Alright, so they're going to shut off my graveyard, but they have literal no action. So the therapy's too late because the Rest in Peace is coming down next turn. Otherwise, that would have been very good. And I only want Cabal Ritual out of this, so I'm going to any order and shuffle this. Yeah, soft disruption with no clock. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, well, I shouldn't say want. Like, want. I'm just going to pay mana for this. I don't think I'm going off this turn. Empty the Warrens is kind of sweet. I'm just going to plan on racing my opponent. Do I have a Badlands? I do not have a Badlands. So the current issue is that since I don't have Badlands in my deck, I can't both Dark Ritual. Okay. That's bad. That's an insane draw. Please name LED. Please name LED. Please name LED. Don't name Dark Ritual. Dodged a bullet. Unfortunately, if my opponent's smart, they will just, like, play Goblin Lackey, sack Goblin Lackey. Oh no, they can't flashback Capal Therapy because of their own rest in peace! Yes! Alright, so now I just need to, like, draw a mana source, and then I can go Dark Rit, push, empty, huzzah. That's probably fine, too. Alright, I need a ritual. So I have access to 3 mana currently. Can I just do this here? Alright, so what if I go... I can go 1, 2, 3, 4... I can add 5 to the storm count. So that's storm count up to 8. Yeah, I have Dark Petition in my deck, which is why I'm stopping right here to think. So I go land, pedal that, so I have access to 3 mana. I go down to 1 mana with Infernal Tutor. I go up to 6 mana by cracking both LEDs. So I have enough mana to do this. Yeah. So Island, pedal, LED, LED. Okay, so I just have to like pay attention to my storm count. So this is storm count 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Tendrils is 8. I can tutor for Tendrils, which is 9. And then I can Fatal Push this Goblin Lackey for the last of it. so I can stop. Oh, neat. My opponent also took damage. That just makes it easier. Yeah, so Infernal, I can just like cast Infernal for Infernal here. And then be done with it, right? Storm count goes up to 7, storm count goes up to 8, and then I have lethal. Do I actually want to cast Probe? Because I don't want to draw Tendrils, right? I don't need to. So this is 6, storm count 7, second Infernal Tutor, storm count 8, then Tendrils. Or I guess I can just like push this Goblin too. Alright, chat, we were the bullies. We beat up on the good Thalia, rest in peace, loving deck. Sorry, fair deck. So, this hand has Probe Therapy, so I'm going to keep it. I think my opponent's an Eldrazi player. I lied. Man, fuck your hand, opponent. Okay, can I go off here? Petal, Cabal Ritual is 3 mana, LED, LED, go down to 1 mana for Infernal Tutor, crack both of these, go up to 7 mana, and then have some floating going into an ad nauseum. That seems fine. I just double check myself. 1, 2, down to 0, up to 3, down to 1, up to 7. So I'll have 2 floating. I can float black, black, going into a Past in Flames, or sorry, going into an ad naus. I can't just like deterministically Past in Flames kill here since I only have 1 ritual. I guess it might be better to like go with both black and red and then leave one of each of those floating, or like black and blue. I think I'm going to do black and red in case I just naturally draw empty. Is that enough? So Dark Ritual puts me up to 4 mana, 5 mana, 6 mana, 7 mana. Tutor. So Stormcast 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so I have Lethal Storm already. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So is this enough mana? So 2 mana, 3, 4 mana, 5 mana. Cast Infernal Tutor, go down to 3 mana. Crack. Yeah, this is just enough. So just to double check myself one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. Down to 3 mana. Up to 6 mana. Kill. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No. I did it. So how is my opponent going to attack me as a slow depths player? They can muck with my graveyard a little bit with Deathrite Shaman, and they have discard, like probably both in the forms of Duress and Thoughtseize. So I need to make a choice. Do I want to try and fight Merit Lodge by boarding in some of this stuff? Or do I just want to purely remain a combo deck? That is the choice that I am going to have to make. I don't know the answer to that. Like, I kind of feel like the main deck is pretty well suited to just, like, trucking through everything that's going on. I don't think I want to, like, dilute my deck by fighting Merit Lodge. Like, I'm probably the faster combo deck. Like, they can turn to only if they have Dark Depths, Urborg, and Hexmage. And like, since they're the slow depths, their trying to play a slower game against me anyway. I could see wanting to play one more Cabal Therapy. And I could see boarding out Reign of Filth. Rob, I haven't seen Slow Depths with that. Yeah, so I think on the draw, I'll just board in one extra discard spell, and on the play, I'll consider just, like, Chrome Mox and try to go off on turn 1. I don't know if this is right. This is a turn 2 ad nause if my opponent doesn't use 2 discard spells on me. So, if they take an Infernal Tutor, I still go off on turn 2. If they take an LED on turn 2, I just Infernal Tutor for another LED. So this only slows me down a turn. Oh, geez. Do they have another discard spell? Because that would be pretty savage. Let's find out. Fuck. That's pretty good, opponent. That's pretty good. Well. Do I want to therapy away the Hex Mage? Deathfire Shaman alone is a 10-turn clock. If I let my opponent play that Hex Mage, the clock cuts in half. Alright, how am I winning without Infernal Tutors? I need to win... Okay, so without Infernal Tutors, I need to either Dark Petition, crack a bunch of LEDs, or I need to empty the Warrens for a large, large number. Fast and Flames probably isn't getting there with Death right here. So I might need to just ignore their clock and just try to sculpt a hand. I don't know. I'll just pass here. There's no lands in the graveyard yet for Deathrite Shaman. So usually Deathrite Shaman is what one of the indicators. His opponent arrests me. I'll brainstorm in response to that. Ugh. So I can hide LED to keep both of those because I think they're important. And then I'll get one back this turn, one back the next turn. They can take my Cabal therapy. It's terrible, but it's happening. I mean, LED isn't great, but I think I still probably want it. I think there's very much a world where a pair of LEDs alongside either Ad Nauseam or Dark Petition wins me the game. If I get really desperate, I can also just, like, cast a cantrip and, like, double crack LED and pray. I will do that if I get to a very low life total. So go down to 12. Okay, how many turns do I have? I'm going to go down to 12 here. Next turn, I'm going to hit for 2, 4, 6. That puts me to 6. So I need to win either this turn or my next turn. Or I'm dead. If I save this Gataxian Probe, there's a better chance that I could get a natural Storm kill on the following turn. But if my opponent draws a discard spell and takes this Git Probe, I'm pretty boned. I guess if Ad Naus is one of my outs, I should probably go for it this turn. So how do I do this? Do I Gataxian Probe for life, double crack LED? Or do I Gataxian Probe, hope to hit a real cantrip, then crack LEDs? Oh, I've decided to Hippity Long Ears. I'm going for it now. Or at least I'm going to make some attempt. I think I'd feel so much more comfortable if, like, I probe into a real cantrip. So I'll pay life. We'll try again next turn. All right. kind of want the second tendrils if my opponent is going to aggressively surgical Infernal Tutor. And now do I want to board in Chrome Mox to just go like super fast? It's really bad if like the game goes on a couple of turns and my hand gets picked apart by discard. But I could see Chrome Mox being better than Preordain for speed reasons, but the cantrips help me to rebuild better if my hand gets stripped apart. I'm just gonna run it like this. I like Chrome Mox better against like Thalia decks where you just like have to go for it quickly. Okay. So on turn 1 I can go land, Lotus Petal, Dark Writ, Cabal Writ, Infernal Tutor, but not be Hellbent. I'm going to keep this and look for an LED. And then go off on turn 2. Actually, I can still go off on turn 1, I think, if I find LED. Woo! Alright, so let's confirm. So, Lotus Petal, Dark Writ, Cabal Writ. So that's 3, 4 mana, 3, or sorry, that's Lotus Petal. So that's 3, 4, down to 2, up to 5, down to 3. Yeah. Now I probably bottom that Dark Petition and then take the LED and go. Alright, so 3, 4, 2, 5, Adnos. Does Past in Flames just do it? Just quick check. So this is 2. No, Past in Flames does not do it. Or does it? So go up to 5. I can Past in Flames for 4 mana. Storm count 7, 8, 9. Do I have Threshold? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I will have Threshold. Okay. Let me double check my math. So Past in Flames is 4. So I go up to 5 mana, I go down to 1 mana, and then I cast Dark Writ, which puts me to 3 mana. There will be 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards in graveyard. I cast Past in Flames. I go Dark Writ, 8 cards in graveyard. Cabal Writ, 7 cards in graveyard. Okay, so Cabal Writ will have Threshold. So I get Dark Writ up to 3 mana, use 2 mana, go down to 1 mana, Cabal Writ, which puts me at 6 mana. Then I go down to 4 mana, cast Infernal Tutor, and then cast Tendrils. So this is Storm Count 6, Past in Flames 7, Dark Ritual 8, Cabal Ritual 9, Tendrils 10. Okay, I do have Deterministic Lethal with Past in Flames. Fast and Flames does open me up to surgical, so am I supposed to just ad nauseum then? If I ad nauseum, I have to find a Lotus Petal. Ad nauseum is probably safer. So, like, now that you pointed out the surgical thing, and my opponent is not F6'd, so that might mean they actually do have surgical. We'll find out. Ooh, all right. Who said it opens me up to surgical? All right, Master Herc. Good job. Good job, Master Herc. Part of me wants to just, like, stop here, Gataxian Probe my opponent, Cabal Therapy their hand, and try to rebuild. But I think I can go for a kill still. Without Infernal Tutor, it's a little harder, but if I just, like, I can naturally draw Empty, one of 2 Tendrils, or Dark Petition for a kill. Okay, so Storm counts 8, Storm counts lethal, make a bunch of mana, Tendrils. I'll stop here. All right, we are successfully bullying people with Ant. Okay, so there was a really good question from Hippity Long Ears. So he asked, if you were the opponent, would you aim that surgical at Infernal Tutor right then at that spot? I think you need to use the surgical there before the ad nauseum starts. But the question is, do you surgical the Lotus Petal or do you surgical the Infernal Tutor? Surgicaling the Infernal Tutor makes it harder to win in the long game, but in the short game, unless your opponent has boarded in Chrome Mox, if they've already played a land for turn, if you name Lotus Petal, they can't actually get started again. So I would have named, like, if I had discard in my hand, I would have named Lotus Petal with that, let them keep the best 7 that they can keep, and then try to bust a hole in it with discard. I think that's the approach I would have taken. Like, I can't win that turn if they take Petal, whereas if they take Infernal Tutor, they will lose to Empty, Tendrils, Dark Petition, and they'll probably still lose to me just, like, drawing infinite cards, like going Probe You, Petal, Dark Grit, Duress You, Cabal Therapy You, Cabal Therapy You, or something stupid like that. That still probably beats them. So I probably would have taken Petal. You would have let Adnaz resolve and then Surgical the Tutor in response to Storm's first discard spell or in response to an LED. That's acceptable as well. Is that better? It still runs into the issue where if they just like stop at an Infernal Tutor and they've already drawn like 7+ cards, can you still just like beat their restocked hand after they cripple you? Like, the surprise factor might get someone, though. So, okay, so, like, I could, like, cede the point that... Huh. So I'm on the play. This hand can only produce 2 mana, but if I find a Dark Ritual off Probe or Preordain, I can just, like, add Naws very quickly. I think this is fine. Opponent has played Bugly of old and Grixis Delver recently. So I have to play around Daze and Wasteland, but opponent's hand is otherwise kind of soft. Alright, so next turn I go Underground Sea, Dark Ritual, it gets dazed. Nope. So I can't go off next turn. But I will take that Dark Ritual. Okay. Actually, if I play LED out first, can I just, like, beat a Daze? So I can go Land, Petal, Dark Writ. If that resolves... I have 3... No, I can't beat Dark Writ yet. Or sorry, I can't beat days yet. I think I'm okay with casting Infernal Tutor, though. Luxac, I know they have days. Oh, are you still talking about last turn? Or last game? I see. Okay. So I know my opponent has a Brainstorm, and they're going to cast it if I Cabal Therapy them. So I can go cast Cabal Therapy, target them, see what they do. If they Brainstorm, I name probably either Daze or Force with this, and then I just go off if they don't have anything. I don't want to play this Underground Sea first. Yeah, okay, so they Brainstorm. I think I'm just gonna name Daze. No, I guess I'll name Force of Will. Because if they have Force of Will, that's a problem card, whereas Daze I can play around later. Okay, they do have Daze. So I can go 3, 4, 5 mana. Well, I guess I can cast Adnaz and pay for Daze with LED. So it's just like a question of, like, what does he Daze? So if I play land, Dark Writ, and that gets dazed, I can't do anything this turn. If my opponent lets me get to Adnaz and tries to daze, nah, I don't think I want to try to go off this turn. I think I'll just like pass the turn here, and then next turn just like be able to go off through daze with my 1 extra land, and then not play this. Okay, so I have 5 mana, one of these Lotus Petals gets blown to pay for daze, and then I Adnaz. And I'll go ahead and just crack this here for black. Holy shit, their top card was Force of Will after they brainstormed. That's rough. Good high level play from my opponent. My opponent like deduced my exact line of reasoning and played around it. There's basically no way I can rebuild in time. I guess I'm going to cast this here, just to, like, keep the clock from changing. Yeah, see, like, this is the sort of thing I'm worried about, because now it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, now I'm on a 2-turn clock. Yep, that's what I was afraid of. Yeah, I guess if I hadn't have cracked the LED in response to the ad nause, I could have just, like, Past in Flames gone off this turn. Alright, I guess that's on me. I didn't need to crack the LED, but I thought it was correct to do so. I didn't consider that Force might have been their top card. Alright, so against Delver, I think I sideboarded minimally before. I think I took out Reign of Filth and a Preordained for 2 of these. Yeah, that was game 1. This hand is slow, but very disruptive. I'm going to keep this. I'm going to fetch Island on turn 1 and Ponder, and try to look for a Polluted Delta or a Swamp. That's none of those things, but I guess it's still land. So I guess I'm okay with it. Oh no, I did not want to do that. Can I undo that? Nope, I can't undo that. How can I not undo that? I think I'm gonna bait here. This might get a daze. Does not get a daze. Ooh. Dark Petition is not quite where I want to be now. And I'll put back this land. I'm fine drawing it. So I can draw this land with Probe, then fetch. So my opponent does have wastelands. Multiple. There's not too much I can do about that currently. I'm gonna take their therapy. I can't beat a therapy on Cabal Ritual right now in any world. Whereas next turn, if my opponent doesn't wasteland me, I duress and then like Cabal Ritual go off. I might be able to just like Cabal Ritual go off and like Cabal Ritual then duress go off anyway, depending on what I draw. Opponent shuffled. That's pretty good. So I Dark Ritual, and if my opponent lets this resolve, I go off. And if they force this, then I've punched a good hole in their game plan. Exiles Daze with Force. Okay. So my Underground Sea is now going to get wastelanded. So I'll need to draw another land before I can just like Cabal Writ, Infernal Tutor, and go absolutely ham. There goes the Infernal Tutor. That's bad. Well, that's a hell of a clock. Yeah, my opponent is playing very, very well. Fuck. We're dead. We're dead. I can't think of any draw that gets us back into this game. Like, Past in Flames doesn't do it. I don't have mana to add Naws. That duress goes too. That probably means they have something they want to protect in hand. Alright. I mean, at least the clock's slower now, so there's that. But I'm gonna get, like, Deathrite drained for 2 here. And then that's it. Okay. Okay. These Deathrites are still just gonna, like, race me. But There's hope now. I think I have to wait one more turn to accumulate any real number of goblins. And it'll still require getting lucky. The issue is that if I just, like, go for some goblins right now, my opponent will fetch a green source, and even if I, like, magically string together a bunch of, like, cantrips and rituals to get there, they can fetch Trap and just, like, eat the Strix and Deathrite Shaman that are in there, and then I'm not gonna race that. So I'm hoping this Delta fetches something other than a Bayou. And then, maybe we can pray. Alright. So I'm dead next turn. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 next turn, yep. Deathrite's a powerful card? Who told you that? Who told you? Okay, so I can draw this get probe, pay life for it, and die to death rights after making a bunch of goblins, or I can just take the Cabal ritual, play Petal, Cabal ritual, goblins. All right, what? I'll just die to death rights on the turn after, though, and then I can't Infernal Tutor for anything that matters. I don't know what I'm looking for, but this doesn't do it. Okay, so like Delver is kind of a hard matchup, and I think I lost to that twice in this league, or did I manage to like steal that other one from Delver? I don't remember. It's kind of a blur. My brain is focused on ad nauseum lines, not on remembering what I played against. Deck list felt fine. The empty warrant, the warrants in the main deck held its own. I never cast Rain of Filth, and I kept boarding it out. That's just probably my own personal preference. I'm not like, I don't really like Rain of Filth as a card, so like that's probably on me, like hedging against the blue decks that I played against by not boarding it in, or not like keeping it in the main deck. Maybe it's a fine game one card in that it helps to enable some really broken things. But I wasn't sold on that. Sideboard felt okay. I don't know that, like, this mix of stuff is any better than just, like, playing a slightly more varied version that has, like, the green sources for Abrupt Decays. I'm not enough of a Storm player to know, like, what the advantages of this board over the green board is. But I guess this keeps you having one less color in the main deck, and then you don't need to run a land in your sideboard, so you can afford to do like this Chrome Mox go fast package. I guess that's the advantage there. But this was fun. So I might do one more Storm League this afternoon. just cause. This one went pretty quickly. And the person who donated more than the minimum. So I might play a little bit more Storm this afternoon before returning these cards to card hoarder. What day is today? Tuesday? Wednesday? Today's Wednesday. Okay. So there's a possible second stream with Storm this afternoon. An evening stream is very unlikely. I've got to do some moving stuff over the next couple of days. Tomorrow morning or afternoon, I'm going to stream with red-white taxes. That'll either happen right after I eat breakfast or right after I eat lunch. This time of year, with my moving and Latin Academy stuff, if you're looking to see when I'm going live, you should either follow me on Twitter because I'll push out announcements there, or you should just hit the follow button so that you can get the push notifications from me via Twitch. Again, my name was Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University, and if you're looking for sweet legacy content, please consider supporting my stream by following or subscribing. Thanks, and I will probably see some of you again soon.